Welcome back, guys, and today we have some very interesting updates about Offroad Outlaws involving character customization, walking around outside the vehicle, and so much more that I cannot wait to get into. So without any further ado, let's dive into everything in regards to this info drop, and we're going to not only talk about the info drop itself, but I want to get a conversation going down there in the comment section with you guys about your feelings in regards to this update and what you hope to see coming out of it. But once again, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Now, the one photo that has everybody absolutely losing their minds is this one right here that the developers posted. Now, they posted a couple of others, but this was the main one that a lot of people are focusing on. Now, obviously, you can see there's a square body right there with a Monster Energy livery, but that's not necessarily the focus of this particular screenshot. So, if we dive a little bit deeper into it, first off, obviously, we have a custom character model, but we also have both characters in the scenario holding pew-pew devices. Now, because there is so much information in that particular screenshot, we're going to go ahead and break it down into some smaller sections, and we're going to start with this one on the bottom right. So once again, you can see the custom character right there. Looks like they have, I'm assuming that the customizable pieces are going to be things like the jacket, the shirt, the bandana, the hat, the pants. I am assuming and hoping that all of those different elements of the character are fully customizable. Now, you can also see what looks like a aim button, maybe a couple of different emotes, and potentially a reload button. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know if those emotes are going to be things you can change or customize, or if they are dedicatedly a crouch button and maybe a jump button. That remains to be seen. Now, before we get much further on into the video, though, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys are feeling ever since seeing the release about the contents of this update, or at least some of the initial contents about this update. To talk about the community aspect of it for a second, I've seen some people that are extremely excited about it when the devs actually released these photos in the official Offroad Outlaws Facebook group. There were some people that were extremely excited, and there were other people that were saying things like, oh, but what about new trucks, or what about new maps, or why haven't you done this, or why haven't you done this? And one of the comments actually got replied to by Offroad Outlaws themselves, saying, don't worry, we're working on all of that stuff as well. So clearly there are a lot of different aspects of this update that we haven't seen yet, and sometimes what I think we see happening is, the devs will put something out there, and sometimes people will assume that those are the only things in that update. Like, the only things in the update are the things that the developers have shown. And that, with this one, clearly, as the developers have made clear, is not the case. There's so much more that we haven't seen yet, so make sure you stay tuned right here to the channel to get notified about all of that as soon as we get the info. Moving back into one of the screenshots now, or at least a kind of zoomed in version of one of the screenshots, you can see down there in the middle, you have 7 out of 146 shots remaining. Now, I don't know if that is just a maxed out number or if that changes depending on what you're using. And then up in the top left-hand corner, you could see different target scores. So I'm assuming that that could potentially keep a constant leaderboard with all of the different people in the session, depending on how many targets that map has. That's what I'm thinking. Now, obviously, we have yet to find out if that's actually the case, but that's what makes the most sense in my mind when I think about how they could potentially set this up. Now, this next screenshot has a lot of details to go into. For example, you can see that up in the top left corner, the scores have changed to 0 and 3, depending on what type of targets you're aiming at. Now, on the bottom left, it looks like that is going to be the fire button. And then over on the right, as you can see, the buttons that are now lit up blue, like, for example, the aim button, that's going to be your scope in button, it seems. And then on the bottom right, you can see you're in a crouched position. So it looks to me like that button, that crouch button down in the bottom right, is going to probably be a constant. I don't think it's going to be customizable or changeable, but then again, we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, it also seems that whenever you are aiming at one of these targets, it actually gives you a distance reading. So it says, for example, that one is 36 feet away. And as you can see in the middle on the bottom, it says you have 2 out of 146 shots remaining. Now, once again, I don't know if that's just going to be a universal cap in terms of the amount of shots that you can have, or if that's going to be, a cap that can be reached once a certain device is upgraded to the level that you want it. Now, speaking of upgrades and customization, this is the new in-game shop, Crazy Eddie's, where you can see you have obviously your main category, and then you also have your scope, your wrap, and your ammo, which here reads 153, and it seems like there are additional plus icons to where you can add more. So there's a lot going on here. Now let's take one very specific part of that picture and break it down a lot further. This, if you look closely, it just says cloth, but it's got an icon of a t-shirt, and I mean, it doesn't say clothing fully, but it's kind of one of those things where I feel like we know what this is and we know what it means. So obviously you're going to be able to buy new clothes for your character. We just don't really have a full in-depth list yet of what all of those different elements of clothing are going to be. Now, let me know if there are any specific elements that you guys would like to see in regards to clothing in the comment section down below. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, well, we don't need character customization, we need further customization on trucks, and that's just that. You know, I don't want anything to do with character customization, which is really interesting to me because there are some people that are super into character customization, and there are some other people that are like, no, I don't want anything to do with character customization, and I don't, like, I just plainly don't want it. And that's completely and totally understandable. I'm just really interested to see where a lot of you guys sit on that, because honestly, I've seen a lot of splitting in the community in regards to character customization specifically. Personally, I think it's a really cool addition to any game, and I think it makes the experience a lot more personal, as long as it doesn't take away from any other aspects of the game, which, based on what I've seen the developers saying in the official Offroad Outlaws Facebook group when replying to comments about that particular thing, it seems as though they're putting in a ton of extra time and a ton of extra work in regards to adding to the other experiences within the game as well, including the vehicles, the driving dynamics. All of those things that we know and love about Offroad Outlaws are not taking a back seat. The characters and the character customization are just a addition on top of the aspects of Offroad Outlaws that we already know and love. Another small screenshot from that previous screen is this, the equipment button. Now, the equipment button has a logo of a target on it, but that makes me wonder, are we going to have to buy our own targets in-game, and then will we set them throughout the maps wherever we want to use them? Or are they going to be preset objects, and then the equipment tab is going to be something where you'll just buy additional, maybe, visual add-ons for them? I'm not entirely sure. They haven't really gone fully in depth on that. But here's the interesting thing. If you are able to purchase your own targets and then set them wherever you want throughout the map, that would actually be really interesting, because think about it, you could actually go and spend time with your friends and just pick any spot. And then not only could you just pick any spot to use those targets, but you could do it on whatever map you wanted, and depending on what map your own particular roleplay scenario was on, you could literally create just about any scenario that you wanted. And let's move along into the topic of roleplay now, because the character customization and the ability to walk around outside your vehicle is going to add a massive, massive aspect to that element of roleplay. Because think about it, you'll be able to have truck meets where you'll be able to hop out of your truck and walk around and look at other people's trucks. You'll be able to have like literally off-road days or mudding days where you can just go to, let's say for example, a mud pit with a group of trucks, and while your buddy hits the mud pit, like, you and your friends can stand around the sides of the mud pit and watch and see if he actually makes it through or if he gets his truck stuck. And I think it's gonna add a much more personal component to the way we play the game, honestly. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy that aspect of hanging out with friends, but not only that aspect of just getting to hang out, but getting to feel like things are a lot more real, and all of the roleplay scenarios that you're going to create are going to feel more authentic, and they're going to feel more believable, which I think is going to add so many new elements to the game that it's going to bring this game to such a incredible new level. Now, I want to take a step back for a minute and talk about how far Offroad Outlaws has come in the past few years. Now, as someone that's been playing this game on YouTube for quite a while now, I genuinely believe that this game has made leaps and bounds in terms of its development. I mean, if we look at Offroad Outlaws from, say, 5 years ago, it was a very different game than the Offroad Outlaws we're looking at right now, where we are literally talking about the concept of the next update allowing you to get outside your truck and walk around, never mind having all of these new items and equipment and character customization and all of this stuff. It's an absolutely mind-blowing announcement, and I couldn't be more excited to see where this game goes in the future. And of course, if you would like to stay as up-to-date as possible in terms of everything Offroad Outlaws related, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see y'all in the next one. Talk to you guys later, and hope you all enjoyed.